Hi folks, and welcome to the Filmomic channel, and today I want to talk to you about well, not just knives but a culture and some aspects of well, using knives and whimsy and also about a book I really like. Um, so, must I talk about? Must I inform you what this is? No, I must not, because most of you guys really, it's a commonplace. This is the Mora. Well, it wasn't even called a classic back then, because this is a really old one. It's a vintage one from 1950s. It's a Frost Mora. This one is a laminated steel one, and the other one here, it's slightly larger. It's a mono steel version, but still Frost from the 70s. These are, or these were, the go-to bushcraft knives for ages, and since the beginning of the 20th century. These were really the famous knives that people carried, and they were used on polar expeditions, as well as by Thor Heyerdahl on his expedition Kon-Tiki and Fatuhiva, and they have been expedition knives for ages, and it's also the go-to knife of Cody Landine, and I really love Cody just because he's so much different, and he's a really cool guy, I think, and he's a lovable person. He's not so egotist, and he's got really great humor, and he certainly knows what he's doing. And he swears by the Mora classical knife, and actually I do myself, because, well, had to be to good Mora. And if you look at the website of Mora, and these knives are touted as knives for around the house and garden and the forest, and this is what it is. And the knives, excuse me for a minute or a second, the knives are actually a cultural. The knives are actually a cultural aspect too. I must browse a little bit through this this really important book, or I think it's a really important book, because it's about a certain lifestyle, I think, and a lifestyle that has been pretty commonplace until not so very far ago. And it's well, where was it now? It's actually it is a children's book, which to me isn't a problem. In fact, I really do, and here it is, and I'm talking about Pezzo no Findus, obviously. And if you look at this little knife there, well, it's highly probable that it is a Mora. And I'm putting this away because it's a little bit drizzling, and the thing is with these knives, they actually are a household item, and well, and as I said, it's a little bit annoying if I'm not talking to the camera actually, and they are a household item. They are really practical knives, and they can be used for hunting, for butchering livestock, for preparing meals, for wood carving, for everything that would occur around a house and farm. And now this is something, actually it's not just the Mora, because this one follows the same lines, and it's this one is a Svantejerv, and this is a really one of my most used knives. It's just a really practical pukpo knife, and the knives are pretty simple. They do have a through tang. It's a stick tang that is pinned over some sort of a tubular inlet, and they aren't glued, so you could fix it. If the handle comes loose, you just pin it over. And the same goes for this one. And you can see the difference between this tang and that tang. This is a newer one, and this has been pinned over for some time. And if this if the handle is shrinking or something, you could actually pin it over again. And well, actually, when I was posting the little short about the Turkish knife, I also made a long video about this, but well, it was a little bit of a provocation, I should say, because well, I know that that Turkish knife is a little bit flimsy, and it is cheap. It cost me 10 euros, and these knives aren't that expensive either. It's they are not the high-end variety. They are not custom survival tactical knives. And actually, well, worldwide there's a ban on knives, and knives are seen as something evil and something to be gotten rid of. And I personally do think there's a point, pun intended. If you look at that, actually this is one of my favorite bushcraft knives. So this is not a criticism, and it is a pretty hard user. It's the Mora garbage, and really super reliable, and great for wood carving, great for everything around the house and field and garden and forest, and but pitch black and really tactical optics, and really tactical look optics. That's the German version. This is actually no harm done. It's not a criticism. It's good that it's got a plastic handle that's pretty resilient. You wouldn't have to worry about the wood shrinking or you having to pin over the tang. And it's got a full tang, and no problem with that either. And on the other hand, this one has worked for, well, the predecessors have worked for centuries. Knives like this have been found in Viking graves, and even Iron Age graves, and pretty much the same layout. And the thing is with the bushcraft and survival crowd, and the knife nut crowd, and don't get me wrong, I'm one myself, and when I was posting that Turkish bishagi, the Serik with the ram's horn handle. Sorry, I forgot your name. I will look that up, and maybe you had you actually had a point saying, well, that's flimsy and cheap, and well, it is flimsy, it is cheap, and but this is what's in use around the house and garden in Turkey. Has someone used this knife for, or someone uses these knives for butchering livestock, for preparing meals, for harvesting greens, for doing everything. And when we think about bushcraft and survival and what have you, and you know, the garbage got a lot of criticism when it came out, because people said, well, it's neither fish nor flesh, and because it's got that thin spine, and it's far too expensive, and well, compared to the 511, which costs 10 euros. And the 511 by Mora is, by coincidence, a really thin knife. It's got a blade of 2 millimeters, and you know. And the thing is, what I want to say is, often military knives come in a really thick spine, because, well, you don't want your knife to break under fire, and in a war setting, if you want to pierce armored vests or something, which is, by the way, is pretty difficult, and it's not a great idea to try that because you never know. So that's silly. That's civilian mythology. No one would do this, and if I don't think that any is, except maybe some special forces, would use a knife as a primary mission tool. Not saying that it isn't used in such a setting, but I don't think that it's not that it were ordinance to use the knife for sneaking up on sentinels, because that's always risky, and you don't want to have too many casualties, because, well, humans are disposable. Not my opinion, but military thinking, and but well, you must be careful with your resources, because if you throw away too many human lives, you are left outnumbered, maybe, and maybe someone on the other side has more human lives to dispose of. Coincidentally, most of them working class people, which is pretty convenient in case they would demand real economical democracy. So you can dispose of them in a war, just as a byline. And what I want to say is, if we, the question is, I think a lot of you guys will make a bit of fun about my showing off Patterson and or Findus as an inspiration for my use of knives. And actually, this is a provocation too, because I pretty much know how to use a tactical knife, and I've been in situations that weren't too great too. And you know, thing is, because I was in situations that weren't too great for my, and the outcome was pretty much, well, in question. Because of that, I like whimsical books like this, and I read a lot, and actually books for me are a survival strategy. If it weren't for my books, I would have gone mad years ago. And sometimes you just want to be a little bit whimsical. And what I want to say is that the world portrayed in Patterson or Findus, obviously cats don't talk. Not going to happen. But the worlds where this is set in a sort of a pre-industrial rural setting is something that actually existed not so long ago, and I know because my grandaunt and granduncle they lived a rather similar life, and I learned that the ways of this life. Still, I was really fortunate to be still able to well to be able to experience that. And the thing is with that we need to focus on good things. Is what I'm constantly ranting about, and you know, there are scenarios where you need a knife as a weapon. Maybe. I cannot tell because I never drew a knife in anger. Never. In my entire life, and I wouldn't. And, you know, I've been in one or the other brawls, as you might have guessed by now. But, you know, and I was even assaulted with a knife, and even then, and I wasn't carrying a knife back then. But even so, I wouldn't have drawn a knife in anger, because everything you do has consequences. This is what I'm constantly saying. I can use a knife in anger, but I don't want to. And if you don't want to, you should leave your knife at home in such a setting. Because if you are not really convinced to kill, and you are not prepared to kill, you should leave your knife at home in such a setting, is what I want to say. And a lot of people on the internet talk a lot about disarming a knife. No, it isn't going to happen. And if you are in a knife fight, both parties, both contrahents will bleed, and maybe both will die. That is about as controllable as a burning brothel. Even if you're a trained martial artist, it's all good if you're seeing this as a martial art, and please don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for everyone who practices a martial art. But please don't fall for that tactical mythology. It isn't going to happen. Be elsewhere. This is the only thing, and if it is, then be prepared to use Ultima Ratio in order to get away, not to score something, or it's not a computer game. And this is what I want to say. You can use a knife for a lot of beautiful things, as I want to show with everything I do. And knives in themselves are a beautiful piece of craftsmanship, and it's well, and something even whimsical, as I have shown, and part of our culture. And I just love that picture, and really I I do love the paintings by Sven Nordqvist, because it's always something to discover, and it's just like a little child. I can walk into the picture, um, and Patterson is a character. Well, he's constantly in his shed and whittling something and creating crazy machines, and a little bit addled in the brain, a little bit crazy, and it says at several parts of the book, it is explicitly stated that he's a little bit addled in the brain because he's talking to a cat. And you know, that's something, that's another use of knives. And if we were to propagate this in public, I think the reception of using knives in would be a whole different manner. Not saying that it is justified. Most people use knives for a really socially adequate use, and this is what I want to propagate with the channel. That there are a lot of peaceful and wonderful uses that you can put a knife to. That's not what I'm saying. But I understand if we constantly talk about the negative aspects and the tactical use or the military uses of knives which exist. And well, ask yourself, what is it? That's a practical aspect to ask yourself, and I did. What is it that you are doing with a knife? What you want to do with a knife? And the thing is, for myself, I decided that I want to whittle. I want to use it around the house and garden. I want to go foraging with it, doing food prep and stuff. And so that's the thing. So there are people coming across, and I don't want to be impolite. So that's for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.